A very, very warm welcome back. This is Anawa Chaudhary. You are on Arun Foot. A very happy new year to everyone. 2025. It's the first day of the new year. Welcome back to the channel. And yes, we will be talking about Indian football going forward after what I would describe as a tough and difficult 2024 for us when we talk about Indian football. Let's hope 2025 will be a better year. So I said, welcome back to the channel. And as always, if you're liking what you're seeing, what you're hearing, do leave a like and a share behind. That does help me here with my work. And therefore, I'll be very, very happy if you do that. And yeah, let's on the first day of 2025, let's talk Indian football and the difficulties that we will be facing maybe, or the challenges or the possibilities that there are. And I was earlier today on Hiren's channel where we were discussing things, and yeah, it is the way it is. Hopefully we can change things for good, and yeah, but there are a lot of things to be seen on what is all happening in Indian football. Of course, yesterday in the last day of the year, the Bengal Santosh Trophy team beat Kerala 1-0 to lift the Santosh Trophy and extend their record in that tournament. Big triumph, of course, for Sanjay Sen as the head coach. And yeah, expectations, as said, like, share, and subscribe. And therefore also watch, I did a video today on what are my expectations of 2025 for Indian football. What do I hope? What are my wishes for Indian football, for us all? What needs to improve? What needs to change? So do watch it. Do let me know what you think about it as well. And Zoravar left early on a comment which I want to take on and discuss. The quality of Indian players in ISL has been degrading year by year. This year, retired Sunil Chhetri is the only Indian at top 10 goal scorers. Nearest Indian scorer, Manveer Singh, who is 20th place. Yeah, Zoravar. Sunil is not only in the top 10, the only one. Sunil is currently second behind Aladdin Ajare, and impressive to say the least what Sunil once more is showing and showcasing in the Indian Super League. It's just impressive to say the least what Sunil is doing at the moment. But that's Sunil Chhetri, I guess, for you and for me and for us. And to me, I think the most challenging so far is that Manveer joined 20th with 3 goals, if I'm not wrong. It showcases you our problem with strikers, or forget strikers or goal scoring players. It doesn't always have to be the strikers. It can potentially also be our wingers or our midfielders, and that is something which is a reality of things at the moment, and that concerns me. That worries me. We were talking about it on Hiren's channel earlier today. The issues which are there in 2025, we need to be looked at. And again, we talk about the national team, and therefore I at least say very, very clearly that Sunil at some stage needs to return to play for the Indian national team, because we at the moment do not have an alternative for Sunil. Period. That's a reality of things. That's a reality of how things are, and we need to find alternatives. We don't have those alternatives, and therefore, yeah, we need to find short-term solutions. And to me, the short-term solution is for Manolo Marquez to try and convince Sunil to come out of retirement and help us in the qualifiers for the 2027 AFC Asian Cup, which will start in March with a game against Bangladesh at home. Hong Kong and Singapore are the other two sides, and therefore these are things which, as I say, which we will have to keep in mind. If I look at other things which are important, I said the national team, I think, will be very, very important. Let's see where we are heading for. Again, hope is, I guess, the thing that is a word which I will use very, very often. The situation surrounding the AIFF in regard to the constitution of the federation which is being heard in the Supreme Court. Again, AFC has clearly stated what it thinks about it. On the other side, of course, also AIFF's contract, which with FSDL, which is ending at the end of this year. So these are all topics which we need to keep in mind, that need to be addressed, need to be looked at, and so therefore for me that is something which we need to remember. Tennis India, hello, welcome back. Why is it not happening? 1 second. Mahesh, Happy New Year to you, not only to you, and to everybody else who's watching. And Turbo asks, how did India manage to produce players like Sunil and Baichung? Turbo, Sunil and Baichung weren't produced by the system. Baichung, Bhutia, and Sunil Chetri have become what they have become, legends in their own rights, due to their own commitment and hard work. They were not, it's not something that, nurtured, done this and that. Sunil, look at him. Of course, he was picked up by Mohun Bagan. They saw something in him, couldn't make it, went to JCT. Sukhwinder Singh put in the hours to try and make him. But again, I think his time at Kansas City and his time, especially thereafter in Sporting Lisbon, made him to the player that he is today, because he realized that he was inferior. He was not as good as the players that were playing in Sporting B. Young 16, 17, 18-year-old Portuguese players, better than the Indian national team captain. Baichung, the same thing, went to very, again, the most famous quote from Baichung at the time was, you know what, I learned how to trap the ball from Neil Warnock. Sums it up for me. So therefore, India didn't produce them. These guys sort of, which is there. And to me, very, very important is that we need to work to create it. And that's something, again, in the past with less, no scouting per se, or minimal scouting, or the word scouting didn't exist. The Tata Football Academy used to produce with 25 players, better players than we are producing from X number of academies at the moment. So we need to question the youth and grassroots structure in the country. We need to talk about it, that how can you improve, and therefore for me, that is something which is of a reality, which is for me, which is disturbing. And I don't, for me, that is something which is a problem. And we need to figure out. Happy New Year as well to you, Tennis India. I said, good to see you back. Prasanjit, hi. Do you think there is a need for second division IWL, considering the talent pool we have? Even the IPL and first class cricket in women has less teams in bringing than they're growing now. Prasanjit, the problem is, I think, yes, there is a desire, there is a need for a second tier in the IWL, because I think the comparisons with other sports don't work. We need to try and get teams at a national level to play, because from a second division, you need to get them up to the IWL as the premier division. That in itself is a challenge. And the answer to that, in my opinion, would be to try and find solutions. But the gulf in standard, I fear, will be there, right? It will be there between the teams in the IWL, and that is something which somehow the other needs to find. We need to find solutions for that. So therefore, in my opinion, it is a challenge. It's a huge challenge. And again, comparisons with cricket or with any other sport is wrong. Football is a club-driven sport, which is different from these other sports. Most other sports, again, in India, don't have a second tier. Forget women's cricket. There are no second tier systems in most other leagues. So therefore, that comparison doesn't work. Happy New Year to you, Harry Maguire, to you, Turbo, and also to you, Notes, to myself. Welcome back, guys, to the channel in the year 2000. and 25. Let's keep these football conversations going. I know sometimes it does become a little bit harsh and a bit negative as well. As I said, to me, I said it this afternoon on Hiren's channel. To me, this is sadly where we are at the moment, right? We need changes, otherwise we will continue to have the same discussions going forward. Ranveer Singh is permanent U17 and 20 coach. Your opinion? I ask this because he also has his classic football academy. Prasenjit, I don't permanent. I think is out of the question for the moment because Ranji is assistant coach of Bangalore FC. Yes, he has classic football academy. He's not running the system anymore because he's now Bangalore based. So therefore I don't see him coaching the youth national teams at the moment. So let's wait and see what happens. But they'll have to, again, first of all, Prasenjit, the AIFF has to decide on who, if they're thinking about who to appoint as permanent coaches. Look at what's happened in the women's national teams. You brought in Joachim Alexandersson as these under-20, under-17 coach with the help of the Swedish FA. And now, so therefore, to me, now is the head coach of the Indian women's team, and you directly saw the way. Let's see what happens. Sir, the transfer window, the Blaster series involved the window. What's Carolus' mind? See, Pradeep, be it the Blasters, be it most of the other teams in the ISL, they will all be involved in the transfer window. The question is, are the players available that they are targeting? Are the clubs with whom they are contracted willing to release the players? Are they willing to pay the transfer fees? Again, to say, it is not something which I think, again, I know people will criticize people for not doing transfers and all, but if you haven't worked in this business, you will not understand how especially difficult it is in the winter transfer window to complete transfers. The summer is a little easier, but winter is sometimes tough because, again, our talent pool is limited. Let's not forget that. And therefore, the clubs are normally targeting the same players to try and sign XYZ. And that is a big challenge in itself. Can any of the current young Indian players have the quality to play in German 3rd or 4th division? I don't see anybody, Zorawar. I'll be very, very honest and brutal on this at the moment. I mean, you can throw me names. I don't see anybody being, forget 3rd division. I don't see even anybody 4th tier, 5th tier, 6th tier maybe, but not 3rd tier. Today I rewatched Maidan. It is so sad to see the bad condition of Indian football now when compared to other Asian teams. Mahesh, do not forget that Maidan is a movie, and in a movie they tend to glorify things, and therefore I feel that that is something which is a reality, and for me, I feel that is something which is there. And again, in those days when we were top, very few countries in Asia used to take football seriously. The best region at the time would have been, amongst others, South Asia, right? Myanmar was the top side, so there was not much competition. Why do top I-League players often struggle when they move up to ISL? Is the gap so big? Turbo, the gap is there. I think, with certain teams it is bigger and smaller. Then the question is how good or how bad is the player? Is he able to adjust to a new environment? Well, there are a lot of points over there. It's not just about the standard of the player. The quality of foreigners is different. The whole structure is different. And that's something which I think, Tobo, which has to be kept in mind. If not PI, OCI, why not naturalization of ISO foreigners? They have already lived here a lot. The process for getting passport would be easier. And as you said earlier, they can get their passport back later. Harry, it is not easy. I don't think that that a Chima Okeri, who's been living in India, who's married to an Indian woman, who's been here since the 80s, Chima, I don't think has an Indian passport. Barreto has been now more for 2 decades in India, still doesn't have an Indian passport. Ansumana Kroma, married also to an Indian woman, doesn't have an Indian passport. I don't think it's easy to naturalize anyone in India. I don't even know what the rules are, actually, to be very honest. I still don't understand our women team draw matches against Uzbekistan. Myanmar also lost matches with small margins. They won against Estonia and came back and lost to Bangladesh and Nepal. Prasanjit, as with the men's team, when people glorify that 2-2 against Iraq, a friendly game is not a competitive game. Never forget that. These all are matches. These are friendly matches. And the SAF Women's Championship is a tournament proper, right? And that is the difference, very simply said. Friendly matches, you can surprise teams, but in serious matches, normally the better team will win. When is SAF 2025? Tanveer, if I am right, it will be held after the June FIFA window. So likely second, third, fourth week of June, I guess, would be the SAF Cup. Reality of Indian football even today is worse than what was shown in Maidan. So again, as I said, Maidan, it glorifies things in the 50s and 60s. It still has its issues. I think we've come a long way from those days, but the problem is, yes, we will have improved from those days, but everyone around us has improved much, much more and much, much faster. I think that's the point of contention, I guess, to talk about, and that is something which we will have to see. So do you think AIFF budget is the issue, or is it how they use their budget? See, more money would always be better. Let's put it this way. But if I look at the end of the day, the money is not that small, right? So therefore, yeah. So for me, let's wait and see what happens. But to me, the AIFF needs to work around how to utilize its budgets in the best possible way. Iraq won Asian Cup in 2007. Yeah, they are not a biggie in Asia, but they are, one of the second. They are a second level team in Asian context. When is AFC Asian Cup for women? When are the qualifiers? Prasanjit, the AFC Asian Cup will be in 2026 in Australia, and the qualifiers are supposed to be held in June and July of this year. Our women's team played against Estonia and won, and then suddenly lost to Nepal and Bangladesh. XYZ, I just mentioned it when asked a little earlier by Prasanjit. Very simply said, those were friendly matches. I don't even know if Estonia played with their best team or not. So that's always a question. But on the other side, the SAF Women's Championship, Nepal and Bangladesh just gave it all. And Bangladesh has been beating us on a regular basis at junior and senior level in the women's game. Sorry, how dangerous PR and marketing football if your first commitment is dangerous? Of course it is. Murali, we've spoken often about this, right? PR is nice to have. So problem. Should full-time youth coaches and full-time functioning of youth teams be topmost priority for youth teams? Harry, I think it's a combination of, organizing the youth tournaments. That's the, how does the system work? Do I know full-time youth coaches? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we do that, if you can manage around it. But again, the exposure of the youth teams the quality coming through the academies, all of these things need to be looked at and questioned. And that's something where at the moment, I think we're struggling quite a bit. Mumbai City manager Peter Kratky, days countdown sacking? I don't think so, Pradeep. If you ask me, I don't see a sacking of Peter Kratky happening. I think Peter Kratky is quite stable in his position with Mumbai City. Indonesia, China, who had better AFC run? And the last one, because of their surprises, I would say Indonesia. If you say in the long run, I would say China. What's wrong with Mumbai City FC this season? Exit of Apuya in the midfield or their foreigners? Shumadri, I think there are multiple reasons. Yes, Apuya is certainly missing, because if Apuya was there, it would most probably give the freedom to Joel Fanif to play a little bit more offensive, and that would open up most probably Nikolaos Karelis to play as a proper striker and not have to drop deep. Jeremy Manzoro has not worked. John Toral, I thought when he came in, looked very, very good, but has not been effective and then got injured. Tarek Roma also, same thing, injury is a problem. And if I see also Changte not in the best of form, Brandon not in the best of form, Bipin, Vikram, then that's the problem. The attacking unit is simply not firing. That's the problem. If Iraq is second tier team in Asia, where is India was? Between third and fourth. If I would divide it into 5-6 tiers, India would be third or fourth. I strongly believe we will not be able to qualify for Asian Cup. Rohit, that's your So to me, again, my head would agree with you. My heart would say, I hope not. I agree with Curious Harry when he said we need a president who can get things done with his connection in government, and under him we need people who understand football. Yeah? That's why I agreed with him, right? So what happened to the Indian U20 team in the I-League? Is that plan dropped now? Yeah, October didn't happen. Again, it's a funding issue. The AIFF has financial issues. So from that perspective, from that standpoint, it's not going to happen. Say you think our federation is corrupt, but our regional confederation AFC is also not innocent. Even in Europe, many underdeveloped countries come up because UEFA is really well good. Don't glorify UEFA and the European federations. Don't glorify, South America or CONCACAF or CAF. Everywhere there are problems and issues. Is it? I think it is on every federation. Don't, yes, UEFA has certain programs for countries to develop. The AFC has more than UEFA actually. But, it is an issue, in my opinion, that the countries don't develop. FIFA is putting a lot of effort, to do a lot of things, but it's India gets more help than most countries around the world from FIFA and from AFC, but still we're not able to develop. So it's at the end of the day, it's on us. Narendra Gehlot to Blasters. Pradeep, I'm not sure if Odisha actually want to release the player. Didn't AIF allow Indian origin players in mid-2000 for I-League NFL? Yeah, reporter Faker Gupta, they allowed it at the time of the I-League. I think it was 2005, 2006, or 2007. Yeah. According to Drogba, an unnamed Indian player who was in ISL was approached by scouts of a Belgian third division club. They were highly impressed by him, wanted to play him an important role. But the player rejected as he's getting paid more in ISL. Zoravar, that's nothing special, right? Again, would he have made it in the Belgian third division? I don't even know. Right? When our coaches are younger players, what are the red flags you see compared to foreign coaches in European kids teaching? Teaching the right things, right? I mean, that's the basic moral. I think working on the basics. The red flags are the basics. Our basics are bad at the moment. That is my biggest concern. So that is something, So, yeah. Should 17, 18-year-old boys need to be sent abroad to get developed better? Should clubs sign more proper MOUs so that we can benefit through this and a lot more? Harry, under 18, you're not able to go abroad. That's the first problem. And secondly, who will take our players? Again, our players are not good enough at that age to be playing in the ISL. Why would players anywhere abroad take our players? Look at from the other side. You said that we don't need politicians, people in finance, not even exactly. You said people who understand sport running to be there. Where can we find these people? Why don't they take over? It was that I said, and he didn't show today, that to me, I think the president needs to be a politician, but a politician with influence and a politician for the love and interest of the sport, right? And there are people, sports management professionals, finance. Kushal Das, for example, was a finance professional when he came into the AIFF, right? So Kushal, to me, people like Kushal were good, right? He left Dubai, came back to India, ran the finance of the AIFF. So from that perspective, there are sports management guys who understand the sport, love the sport, are willing to work 24/7 on the sport. Otherwise, it won't work. How important is player management because time ego has been hurt? See, player management is important, but if a player has an ego and that's hurt, again, that's sometimes the player needs to understand. So that will happen. If a player is benched by a coach, UEFA wants to create a European Super League and the fans are against it. UEFA is not creating a European Super League. It's a private entity. The fans are again, the fans in Europe are not the ones who also understand always football, right? So, yeah. Sanjay Sen won the Sanjay Trophy as coach of Bengal. He has tasted success in most big tournaments. Now, Shumadri, yes, Sanjay Sen has won the I-League with Mohun Bagan at the time, but to me, the Santosh Trophy in today's form is not a big tournament. It is a semi-pro amateur tournament for state-level players, right? We're not talking about ISL or I-League players playing it, and they shouldn't be playing in it, right? So therefore, it is great, but don't make it bigger than it is. FIFA itself is corrupt. Tanvir, again, yeah, if it is, it is, but let's see. What about the rest, right? Zra was talking about Apuy and his training stint in Lommel SK. No, it's not. Lommel is not a third division team, and Lommel didn't want to sign him. He was there just for a 2-week training stint at the time, 2 years ago. So others are good than SAF because in each region, at least one good team is there and others improve to compete with them. But there is not the case here. You would have been in SAF, what you've done. I was never in SAF, so I don't know where that comes from. But that's on SAF, right? We were the biggies in SAF, or have been the biggies in SAF, and other countries have looked up to us, but we have never taken the jump to the next level. But it is on, again, you can't jump regions. You are part of the region that you're part of, and we need to develop ourselves, and the others around us, be it a Bangladesh, be it a Pakistan, a Nepal, a Bhutan, a Maldives, a Sri Lanka, also need to develop themselves. Vision 2030, should we produce good technical, good player? Murali, 2030 is not going to happen. We are in year 2025. We're not going to produce good technical players in 5 years. Not going to happen. For me, politician heading football, not issue, but intention matters a lot. Yeah, Murali, very, very right. So how do you see Reliance Foundation Youth Young Champs program, Mizoram? Does India need more such programs? Yes, but again, the results is not going to come next week or next year. The real results will come out most probably in 15, 20, 25 years. Indians devalued themselves. Some club in Kolkata till 60s did not allow Indians. Now we have Prime Minister of India. We should go past looking down ourselves syndrome. We have to have faith in ourselves. We can improve our structure with a little bit honesty and dedication. Sambit, nice thought, but that's not happening. That hasn't been happening, and that isn't happening, right? So again, yeah, that's the problem. The realities are that they are, and this whole system um, is not changing, right? We are where we are. Lommel is in second division, right? Lommel at the moment, yes, is, but again, the one that I think Drogba was talking about, I think I know which club it is. I don't think that club was, and it's not Apuya, it's another player. I don't think Indian players can play in top tier European leagues. Not just good enough. You live in Germany, where Indian players good enough to play in which tier? Then I have worries that if they can make it in the fifth, sixth tier these days, So therefore, for me, yeah, I've challenged Indian national team players to come here to Remscheid, to my city, and our club, former second Bundesliga club, is now in the sixth tier. And most of the boys have been in under 19 Bundesliga players, so their basics are good. Do you think MOU has not created impact or without having strong foundation MOUs? MOUs are only as good as it's signed, but you have to make that MOU work, right? And that's something, again, I've tried with the German FA and the AIFF to get a few things going. I think that has happened, but outside of that, most MOUs have been useless. No, I was not asking, suppose you would have been in SAF, the steps you would have taken. Sanjeev, first of all, one would need to take an analysis of where does the SAF region stand. And then you would have to talk to each country and say, what are you doing? What are your priorities? To just hit out and say, oh, I would do this, that doesn't work. You have to first analyze and understand where the problems are, and then try to work around it with the respective countries, or ask AFC FIFA to help with certain development programs. It's just saying, what would I do if I was in SAF? It doesn't work that way. Asian countries are incorporating Grassroots at youth level as well. Recently, Thailand got a 15-year-old from Man United to represent the national team. So yes, that's been happening actually in the past as well. Nobody has been watching. And it's going to happen more and more. Do you think Bangladesh going to be SAF champion soon? Morally, they have been SAF champion over 20 years ago. Stephen, India coach, lost to Bangladesh in 2003. So yes, they have been, and they will most probably win SAF in the future at some stage again. It has happened in the past. It will happen in the future again. Technically, even Indonesia doesn't even have one quality Asian level player, but they produce Marcelinho, Ferdinand. Where is our Marcelinho? If not, we need 11 senior quality players. Yeah, but even Marcelinho is not making it at Oxford United, right? So the much loved Des Buckingham, as long as he was there, was not utilizing him, right? So Asian talent for Europe, Asian level talent, is he even Asian level talent? I don't think so. He's holding back our development, a system or player. Morally, it's both. It's all the aspects I mentioned, right? Our grassroots, our youth football, our coaching, our competitions, our scouting, the players themselves, all of it. Opinion on Sri Lankan star cinema that plays in German third Liga. We're a solid player. Yeah, if he wants, most probably can play second Bundesliga. Right? And you say, I was watching German Dritte Liga, absolutely insane intensity compared to us. So yeah, different level. Can't even our youth boys join a third or fourth tier academies through MOU? Could clubs do it, including fan base in India? Maybe for senior player it may look like, for fan base it could be for youth players. Very nice thought, but it's not happening. Why would someone do it? Indians in England are able to reach third division and second division outside of Europe. It's hard. Why? They're reaching top levels in America. They're reaching top levels in Africa. They're Indian origin players. Australia, New Zealand. So, yeah. Fiji, the captain, Roy Krishna. So, yeah. So, do you think it's difficult to improve in a sport like football than other sports? No. It's on you. But you need to bring a certain level of talent with you. You have to bring a certain understanding of the game with you. These are things where we are struggling massively at the moment, and therefore we are not getting to the level which we want to be, which we should be, which we need to be, right? That's the challenge that we have, right, in Indian football. And that's why that's why I always say we need to do much more to achieve the jump to the next level, right? Where are the better young players coming in? Normally younger players come in and push out the older players. That's not happening. We see a lot of players blossoming towards the end of their 20s in the ISL when they've got 5, 6, 7, 8 years of experience, right? If I look favorite or even above 30, Rahul Beke now is in a form, think about it, that, at Mumbai FC and at East Bengal, they thought he was not good enough. Mehtab Singh at East Bengal, they didn't think that he was good enough. Good examples, in my opinion, right? So they develop later in their career. Any instance you've seen we're doing Jugaad, Murali, I said that in the past. Yes, we've done a lot of things in Jugaad in Indian football, and that has harmed us. I believe his name is Nexus, the talent U15 player. Yes, XYZ. Do you think we are very bad in follow-up because we start but we don't follow what is happening? Murali, can be a case, yes. I do believe we have some good young talents, but how AIFF is going to back them is the main question. Shivam, I have seen our so-called good talent. Was watching last year a little bit of under 17s. I would be worrying, So that is the point. What are the clubs producing? It is easy. The AIFF has its share of blame to take. But the players around the world are produced by the clubs, by the academies, depending on systems, maybe even by the schools, let's say Japan and Korea, by the grassroots development centers is in the US, But in India, it is on the clubs and the academies. The academies are not producing better players. Ranji, so if India beat your club, what's your reaction? Sorry? Reword it, Murali, I'm not getting your question. So this will be a big year for Indian football. Hi, Mayank. I hope so. And I hope not only just a big year, I hope it's going to be a positive year for Indian football. I think that's the challenge that we have, that we face with Indian football this year. But I don't know where we're going, right? As I said in Hiren's show earlier, I think Indian national team, for me, it's a must that we qualify for 2027. That's a basic. AIFF, how is the structured, as you say, FSDL contract and Indian national team qualification. Those are, to me, is something which is very basic. I think, Mayank, FSDL contract, I think nobody understands. It seems to me that that what kind of a commitment Reliance has made. I think they deserve that respect. Certain people have downplayed that. So to me, it is something, the general structure, women's football, youth structure, a lot of question remarks made. Shanhundal to Mohammed and Sporting wanting to show Poddar, Zoravar. I replied to that. I was asked at the time. At the time, nothing has been done, signed, finished. So let's wait and see when it's done. If it's done, if he comes to India, let's wait and see. It will be announced either by the club or by the player that is going to come to India. If he comes, let's see what he can do. Where do you place Syria? First tier, second? There are tier 2 in a nation level. They're not a first tier club nation. Why do you think Indian players are developing so late, whereas in Europe they are mature by the age of 17? Zoravar, because our structure from 16 to 21 is not good enough. That transitional phase from being a youth player to becoming a senior players, that is where we are faltering. That's where we are failing massively at the moment, in my opinion. And that is where we need to do a lot more in Indian football, that the transition from being a youth player to being a senior level footballer is better. And again, we need more exposure for our boys. And again, that is where we need to work a lot more than we are doing at the moment. Right, nearly 14 minutes, 15 people watching at the moment. If you haven't, do leave a like behind. If you're liking what you're hearing, what you're seeing, um, 6 likes only so far. I think we can do better. As I said, like and share if you think you're good. We're at 2090 today. Thanks a lot. Uh, we're closing in on the 2100 mark. We're nicely, glowing also as well on the first day of the new year. And also, if you haven't, do watch the short videos that I make on a regular basis. Today is my, entry video about my expectations of from 2025. What do I expect? Yesterday did something that would players be willing to leave their nationality as the last video of 2024, and then of course recap of India national teams 2024. Ryan Williams, should he play for us? The I-League, why does it have winter break? All these videos, do watch it, do support it, and as always, thank you very, very much for your support. You remember 2004 Italy fixing scandal where referees were bought, players from other teams were registered under one agency whose owner owned one club. How did Italy then won 2006 World Cup? It was disaster. XYZ, because they have quality and had quality. The Italian team, of course, 2006, in my opinion, they weren't the best team. Most probably France or Germany were the better teams, but Italy won it. And again, when you win it, you win. They won the key matches. They won the semifinals against Germany in extra time. I was there in Dortmund that day. And I was also there in Berlin when Italy beat France with that famous Zidane headbutt. And yeah, that's why they won. What happened to Aniket Yadav? His transition problem or injury? Transition. I'm saying if India beat your 6th division club, what would be your reaction? And that's what I would expect, Murali. I wouldn't be surprised. But if they don't beat them, then I would be worried. But FC Remshad would most probably give India a fight. That's what I'm saying. There are kids in that team who have played at the highest youth level. So their basics are good, right? So therefore, again, if they have to play in Indian conditions, it's a walkover for the Indian boys because those German kids are part-timers, right? They're not even professionals. They're amateurs, actually, right? But that is my concern. Do you think sponsors like Vivo or Oppo who sponsored IPL will show interest? No. XYZ very simply said, if they showed interest, they would do it. They're not. Are they doing it? Are big mobile companies or other big sponsors coming forward who work on cricket? No. They would rather sponsor a local cricket tournament than sponsor the ISL or the I-League. That's the reality. Nothing will happen until Kalyan Chaubey is at the helm. Yeah, sure. Let's see. Messi is coming to India, and Man United is also rumored to be play pre-season friendlies in a great year ahead for football in India. Siddharth, Messi coming to India, let's wait and see if he plays. Again, we're supposed to play last year in Hong Kong, it didn't happen. Match is still not confirmed, and Man United coming to India, I don't know. And what's the value for Indian football at the end of the day, right? It's great for football fans. Again, as someone who's most probably organized the biggest teams to come to India, especially Bayern Munich twice. I know what it means, what craze it can create, but for Indian football, it has no value, right? So, yeah. So I say this because I follow many other sports where India has made decent progress. When it comes to football, it looks impossible to close the gap with the top nations. So, but the problem in football is, to me, very simple, that 211 countries are in FIFA. So, and that has no other sport has that, right? There are more countries and territories in FIFA than there are in the United Nations. So therefore, that makes it very complex. Hi, Kumar. Welcome back. What should an average footballer player needs to do between age 16 and 21? Play more games or train to better his technique, sign for big clubs or toil into early? XYZ, there is no this or that answer. Each player needs an individual plan, what would work for him. Some players need more game time. Some players would need to work on their technique, on their basics. Some players can play for join big sides and play. Others need to play at the lower level. There is no, football is not a sport, or sports in general. There is no one. It is not like engineering or becoming a doctor or a lawyer where the pathway is similar. Sport, each individual person, sports person, each individual has his or her history. Therefore, you can't say that, if let's say you say, you know what, I have a talented 11-year-old kid, right? And I do everything what has happened to Lionel Messi. The kid will never become Lionel Messi if he doesn't have the talent of Lionel Messi, right? And his pathway will never be 1:1 of that of Lionel Messi. So therefore, football is an individual, it's a team sport, but each individual playing in that sport is an individual career. So therefore, these comparisons can be made. For me, most important is between 16 and 21, what you mentioned, play games. Yes, you should be playing 30, 40, ideally 40 games a year, and training as much as possible. Even in your spare time, you should be on the ground and playing football. That is what you can do. If your body allows, be 3, 4, 5 hours a day on the field. Work on your basics. That is what is lacking, right? When we were kids here in Germany, we used to go to school, and in the summers when it was warm and hot, we used to go at 1:10 or at 1:50, the school used to get over, used to go home, have lunch, and at 3 o'clock, with your football boots in tow, you used to run to the next ground, and we used to play football. And we used to, 3 o'clock start, and 7 o'clock come home, freshen up, and then have dinner, and then, do a little bit of homework, this, that, everything, and then go to sleep. On the days we didn't have proper organized football training. That is what is needed. You need to spend time on the field. Time on the field cannot be replaced on, I'm watching a video, I'm watching this, I'm watching that, which is nice. But then become a coach or an analyst or do stuff off the field. You have to be as many minutes on the field. What do you think about Spanish second-tier offer to Sunil earlier on? Is Sunil current, or maybe from 2 years back good enough for Spanish second, or was that offer on other intentions like fan base? If Sunil can't make it in the second tier of Portuguese football, which could be a weaker standard than Spain, again, he even had an offer from QPR in 2009, right? We never know what could have happened, but likely, let's see. I hope FSDL discontinue that contract. Either Indian football, then AIFF will hit new low. We can expect something after that. Shomo, that is a very interesting approach. But why would you want Indian football to hit a new low? For me, for the AIFF and the people running it at the moment, it is not a problem. It is a problem for Indian football. Indian football would lose out, right? And they would then point the fingers at Reliance, at a corporation who, in the minimum, very conservative estimate, most probably have spent up to now about 3,000 crores on Indian football, right? Who is going to be willing to spend that much of money in Indian football? That's the reality. By backing, I do not mean the conditioning of players and transition to their level. Here, the asset clubs that are going to produce talent or even have proper academy. Shivam, they have, right? Because they have youth teams, right? That is the definition of an academy. The problem is, what are you producing? All of them have it on paper. Even the I-League teams have it on paper. What are you producing? Is Shan Hodel ready to give up his citizenship to represent India? Zorawar, I don't know. That's a question for Shan. Whenever keeping expected in Indian football is mental trauma and torture, no exception in Indian football is best for mental health of Indian fans. Kumar, that is sports. You'll have good days and bad days, and sometimes you have more bad days than good days. Yeah, and therefore, that is something which is reality. It will not affect AIFF, but surely disturb Indian football. Yeah, Shivam, exactly. That's my thought as well. By the way, I was shocked to see that Afghanistan national team kit is sponsored by 5-6, which made quality jerseys which our national team used, but now we are using cheap street level jerseys for international level. Yeah. Afghanistan beating India was not such a big upset. We just like to overestimate ourselves. No, Tanvir, I don't think that is right to say. I think that is one of the worst things that I've seen in the last few years. Losing to Afghanistan was just embarrassing, period. Right? That is no disrespect to the Afghanis, but that was a ragtag team which came together and beat us. And yeah, it just wasn't good enough from our side. And that is something which we need to recognize. We were not good enough that day against the team which we should be beating on a normal day. How long have you been living in Germany? Tanvir, I'm born in Germany. So I'm born and brought up in Germany, but I've spent time in other countries and other places as well, amongst others in India. 40 games, Indian players don't even play 20 games in these under 17. There's some same for RFDL. Robert, yeah, but again, that's part of the problem, right? And it's not an AIFF problem. These teams should be playing matches locally in the first half, and then you would have the national competition. If FSL doesn't continue, then Indian football will be in trenches. So we are in trouble. In 2024, A-League 1 30 side in England showed interest in Changte, but he did not join the Congo because of less payment. Indian players are not willing to go abroad. Changte didn't have an offer. I don't know where these rumors come from. Changte didn't have an offer from a third-tier English side because they can't offer him. He won't get a work permit, right? Hope the players selected for Asian Cup qualifiers realize that Indian forward team is in crisis. They look like headless chicken running around. If Sunil Rata game couldn't motivate them then. Yeah, but that's part of the problem. But the frequency of bad days is more in Indian football, more. Yeah. When India losing to Guam in Afghanistan, what difference? Against Guam, it was clear Stephen had come back. India was not in a good state. We were in the 170s in our rankings. We are in a different state now, or should be in a different state than we were then. But again, any information on WhatsApp your players? Gopu, no update on the topic. Again, I've made a few videos. If you want to look at it, what is the status? What who players and all that stuff. But let's see. Now the 3,000 crores. Does they spend it wisely? Absolutely not. Does they even spend 10% on grassroots and youth development? Not even 300 crores spent on grassroots and youth development. Kumar, I think they've spent more than that on grassroots development. If you look at the infrastructure that they built in Mumbai, if they see what the clubs have been spending as well, I think they would have touched more than 300 crores in youth development. So I don't think, have they spent it wisely? That's a different conversation. But running the ISL, again, that's the top tier league in India. That in itself is something that they've done. But they've spent quite a bit on grassroots and youth development. So I would not say that they've not spent it. AIFF and Indian football like a dead rock. If they hit another low, they might not even get out of it for many years because I think they won't even have intention to do it. We as fans will suffer. Yeah, could be. Subhash says Ashley Kohli is not joining East Bengal FC. Okay. I mean, Afghanistan held us 1-1 in last World Cup qualifiers and they had crazy quality last Asian qualifiers. Some Afghani players were missing. Yeah. So that is, those are the realities. Right? I'm loving the approach of Mohammad Supergiant, the way they are approaching their squad strong and strong and aiming for the glory in AFC. This time they're unlucky because of AFC banned them from their group. Yeah, potentially stronger and stronger, I agree, but glory in AFC, which glory? What glory has Mohun Bagan Supergiant or what glory has Mohun Bagan or ETK brought to Indian football in continental competitions, You agree with the word Ashley Cole best left back ever? It's not even in the top 10 or top 20 of left backs. How can you say he's the best left back ever? So can you explain how Marcelino Fernandez signed for championship team Oxford United when national team ranking is not even in top 100? There's surely a way around. I don't know what the way around is, but that would be my logic. Not sure if he has a second passport from some other country. Might be that. I don't not sure. Let me just 1 second. Let me check one thing. I'm sure there is something. Don't ask me. I honestly don't know. Would be interesting. I can try and find out, but I don't know. Can you tell when the draws will be there for women's AFC qualifiers? Sanjit, I guess in the next 2 months, I would think. I was there in every home matches of India's World Cup qualifiers second round, and trust me, India's body language was very poor and not so competing. And they were missing passes, just like playing for first time. Yeah, Shomula, welcome. To that was the mentality is one of those things that was missing from India, and sad reality. But that's where we were in these qualifiers. Think about it. We won the first game, and I thought, okay, there is a possibility maybe to create an upset, but that was just not possible. India can go through the roadmap of Uzbekistan and look at Uzbekistan now. Siddharth, I don't think we should look at the roadmaps of other countries. I think we need to create our own roadmap, because what Uzbekistan can do, we cannot do. What Japan can do, we cannot do. What we can do, I don't know, some African country or South American country. We need to develop our own roadmap. And also, when we're developing our own roadmap, it can't be a national level roadmap, because what works in, let's say, Bengal will not work in Kerala. What works in Kerala will not work in Manipur. What works in Manipur will not even work in Mizoram. What works in Mizoram will not work in Goa. So we need to be very flexible. Remember SAF 2021, before that we drew Nepal multiple times, drew with Sri Lanka, couldn't beat weak SAF nation. That was another low for us. Why did even extend too much contract instead of instant sack? Harry, question to the AIFF. I've said he had a brilliant start, and once COVID was there, I thought Steamach was no longer the same coach. But Afghanistan player playing in Europe League, you said we should. I've beat. Yes, they play in Europe League, but we had Amiri, who's played in India in I League and ISL. We had the player from Gokulam Kerala, and Shahzan, I forgot his name, who played for Gokulam Kerala and for Churchill Brothers, who scored the penalty as well. But again, playing in Europe, they're not playing at the highest level. So that's something. And it was a ragtag team, right? They didn't train that much. So for me, that we should have won it, but we didn't, right? At least at home. If they spend in grassroots, then where are the players? It's already a decade since ever still funding Indian football. So Robert, the problem, even if they're funding it, right? In an Indian context, for real serious results to come out, I think, it was I think 2023, right? When they went to Japan and got badly beaten. Ryan's Foundation boys got badly beaten by Japanese school teams. So that shows you the difference of where we are. This system to rectify itself will be very, very difficult, and it will take time. The money spent on grassroots and youth development, does it produce any better players? Until now, even in the age group, did they produce better players than current players? Kumar, spending money doesn't mean you're going to produce better players. But they did. You say they did not spend money. They did spend money. But is it giving us the results? No. Right? I've been asked so often on this live about the Nopang League. The Nopang League, to give us proper results, will take 15, 20 years. And there's no shortcuts. We talk about shortcuts. You want to say in 10 years we're going to revolutionize football in India? No chance. Right? Unrealistic. Everyone on the internet says he's the best ever. Everyone, I just see him. XYZ, I said. What the internet says doesn't mean that it's right. My British Indian cousin said that Indian players are not good enough for even League 2, despite it being fourth tier. It is really competitive. Tanvir, he's right. We were speaking about in Hiren's channel, and I said, even the National League, the 50 would be tough for Indian players. How many teams play in AFC Women Asian Cup? Can you tell what are India's chances of qualification? I think that 12. If I'm right, 12 teams play, and it depends on the qualifiers. I'm not sure if India's going to get in the right group or not. Very difficult. One of the best left back, hands down, I would say Roberto Carlos. Yeah, Roberto Carlos surely would be one of the best. Prediction for tomorrow's game. Arnav, anything but a Mohun Bagan win would be a surprise. This work permit issue on top 70 rank seems to be a hoax to me because of Thai players, Malaysia players have been in England. I think there is more to this law. We need to deep digger. No, there is nothing more. It's about work permit in general. And then there are certain exceptions which are made, which can go to a tribunal. For example, Baichung got his work permit at the time to play 3 years for Bury in 1999. Sunil in 2009 applied to the same tribunal, and that tribunal turned it down. So at the moment, these players have gotten their chance. So there's a tribunal to it. It's nothing. Again, you see, there's no conspiracy or whatever, I think, that some people think. This might be controversial for many people, but does Mohammed Super Giants still work more like franchise rather than a proper club? I know they have great fans, but still they inherited ATK system top to bottom. Now, Harry, good question. Define me the difference between a franchise and a club. Because what we in Europe would call a club, the Americans would call a franchise. De facto, it's the same thing. Right? So therefore, to me, yes, Mohun Bagan Super Giant is run by what is de facto a system of what Mr. Goenka created 10 years ago, 11 years, 10 and a half years ago, let's put it this way. Sanjay Sen did wonderful job. Santosh Trophy back to Bengal, still believe, Shop Khela, Shera, Banglar, Tumi football. Yeah, great. But what's the value of that? For me, it's now an amateur tournament. For Sanjay, brilliant. Congratulations to him and the players and the IFA and Bengal. But to me, in a professional football context, it has no money. How African produce best player despite less development process? Because individual. As I say, it's not the players also produce. Do you think that Mo Salah was created by the Egyptian football system, or it was on Mo Salah? A lot of talents around the world are developed despite lack of a system. So it's don't call for just a system. It's also on the players to try and become better. Sunil Chhetri is today what he is because he did what he did. Baichung Bhutia is what he is because he did what he did. Right? That is something which is there. Or now a better player means we're able to teams which are at our level comfortable instead of drawing or losing against soft teams. Kumar, the players you would produce 10 years ago, let's say what we started in 10 years ago at Mumbai City at grassroots level, those players would not have even reached adult age, right? Now, in an ideal case scenario, which we are far away from, this is one thing you guys need to understand. We're not Japan. In Japan, it's clockwork, and even Japan has needed decades to come to where they needed to, right? If we did the right things in Mumbai City in 2014, I would think it would take us 30, 40 years to produce quality players at Mumbai City. If you like it or not. Because your first shots will not be, Asian level. So therefore, timelines. The point is that the others have been catching us, have been catching up with us, right? Women's football, Bangladesh. In women's football, we used to beat teams 5-0, 7-0, 10-0, 13-0 until recently. Or even, again, Maldives, we still beat 14-0, right? Yeah? But our problem at the end of the day is that, for example, Bangladesh has developed exponentially over the last 5, 6, 7 years in women's football. And not only senior, but in youth football as well. Nepal, their star player plays in France in Gangon. Look at Sabitra Bhandari's influence on the team in that semi-final against India. Right? It was mentality which won it. We were not mentally there. And that's why, sadly, I have to say Nepal deserved to beat us in that semi-final. So therefore, these, again, to everything, there's a logical explanation of why where we are. It's not rocket science. We are not doing our homework properly. And our problem is that our country is so big, that our system is so complex, that it's more difficult to develop football in India than, let's say, in a Maldives or in a Bhutan or in Nepal, because they're small. And now that top 70 rank criteria is only for top 5 European. No, it's only a UK rule. There is no rule in Germany or in France or in Spain or in Italy. It's just a UK rule. Do you think hunger and eager killed today's generation in India? Murali, that's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer to it, but that hunger that I used to see, if I look back, if I see the hunger that when we in 2000 went with the Indian national team to England, the willingness to learn, to observe, to learn. And Baichung was the leader. Baichung was one of the youngest players, but Baichung was a leader. And those young boys, a Randy Singh, a Khalid Jamil, a Mahesh Gawli, a Deepak Mondal, Surkumar. Later on in the following tours, we had other players coming on. I don't see that at the moment, right? They're happy to play ISL and earn their money, right? And smaller time players like to play national team and then look for government jobs or other, jobs. So first of all, Happy New Year. And what do you think about Indian football team for 2025? How do you see them in 2025? And what are your expectations about the international upcoming matches? Shomolo, thanks a lot. Also to you and everybody else who's watching, a very, very Happy New Year 2025. I honestly don't know what to expect. I'll be very, very honest. Again, it's a fight between the heart and the head, right? My head says we will have a very, very tough 2025 with the Indian national team. It might be a very, very bad year upcoming. But my heart wants to keep that hope that we can do something or the other. That we get ourselves out of this rut, out of this negative cycle, which is important. But I'm not sure which side of me will win. This is a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde fight, which is happening. And the head is, again, and that's why I mention all these things. When I said in 2023, when we won the SAF Cup, I put up my finger. I was sitting in Bangalore. I was talking to Rahul at the time. Watch that old video. It's still there on this channel if you want to watch it. Where I said, I don't think we played as well as again, the atmosphere was great. We won it on penalties, but technically Kuwait and Lebanon were better than us, right? And that's been the case. So to me, that is going to be the challenge. Can these players pick themselves up? Do they understand the importance of the moment of having to qualify for 2027? I know that a Gurpreet understands it. I know that a Sandesh understands it. If Sunil comes back, he will understand it. A Chante understands it. But a lot of the others, I don't know. So therefore, that is going to be the fight. I hope. Again, hope is, I'll use that word a lot this year again. I hope, but I don't trust. I don't believe. That's my problem. My belief is not there at the moment that they can do it. But I hope that we do. Our women team had good trajectory before hosting Asian Cup, but after that, our path has been way too bad. What went wrong all these years and what decisions need to be taken to back to grow? Harry, we had a good generation of players. We had a very good coach in Thomas Dennerby. If you think, again, we lost 1-6 to Brazil, but again, that Manisha Kalyan 1-1 goal is still impressive to me. right? So these are things that I go back, look back, and think, yeah, that was good. But if I look at it now, if I look at where we stand now, where how we are playing, we're just not good enough, right? That is my concern, right? To me, Joachim Alexanderson, at least I thought, again, Maldives was not a good opponent. That's a fact. But at least we've, it is something that it looked like it's something better is happening. I don't know. I hope. But again, we need to structure our football. We need to play regular football. The IWL needs to have a proper season. Yeah, our player, if I said Sabitra Bhandari, but Sabitra came to India, won the IWL at Gokulam, and has now gone to France. And you see her, but I then see our players who've gone abroad. They don't seem to have that kind of influence. Be it a Bala, be it a Manisha, be it a Soumya, that needs to change. Salah toyed in Roma, in Belgian league. Mourinho slammed him in Chelsea. Any other player would have thought his career is over, but Salah improved. Just look at his fitness. Yeah, XYZ. Same as Sunil, right? Sunil, not good enough at Mohun Bagan, went to JCT, improved, failed at East Bengal, tried his luck, went to America, failed in America, came back, didn't work out, went to Portugal, and Portugal was told openly, you're not good enough. And thereafter became the Sunil Chetri he was, right? Because these guys are become legends because they had to face hardships, right? Because they are not, these are not players who are naturally gifted like, let's say, a Lionel Messi or a Maradona or I don't know, current, let's say the German boys, Jamal Musiala or Flo Wirtz or Lamine Yamal. These guys have to work hard to get to that level. Cristiano Ronaldo had to work hard to get to that level. So therefore, that's the thing. That's the difference. Or now that dump these individual trophies which don't have any value, like Sun Trophy and random trophies. I think Santosh Trophy has a value, Kumar, but it has a value because you have to keep the state associations happy. But on the other side, it's an amateur tournament. That's why I said keep it. We even have it in Germany, but I wouldn't be able to tell you who is currently the state champion of the German football system. African countries are not that financially strong, and the football leagues are not giving that much of money for the players. That's why players go Europe for money and get improved themselves. Siddharth, yeah, but the question is not they go to Europe for the money, yes, but again, they're good enough to play in Europe. Our players are not good enough to play in Europe. So that's another point. Shayan, Happy New Year to you as well. Welcome back. Do you think the priority of the players who plays for national is getting government job rather than how to go to next level? For some, yes. For some, not. But it could be, yes. And what's your thing? Sanjay Sen can sign a contract in I-League or ISL coach? ISL, I don't think so, Shan. He turned down the opportunity to be an assistant. I-League, yeah, why not? And now, how many years it takes to beat SAF teams comfortably? What does it mean when will be a match against SAF teams day before the match? The team should sleep comfortably that they will win. Kumar, those days are gone in international football. The days of 4-5 easy nil wins don't exist anymore. Yeah, to me, that's the first understanding, that every day, every day you have to fight for winning. So therefore, there is no, you don't go into a game. Even the bigger teams don't go into games and think, okay, I'm going to win this. You do sometimes, Do you think many players who come poor socioeconomic status, their parents' intention was to earn first and develop next? Do you think a socioeconomic also reason? Morally can be a reason. Doesn't have to be, but yes, for players from the poorer strata of societies, it is about earning a living, yes. The problem is there needs to be a huge number of players in our youth system. Only then there would be an incentive to improve one game to secure the good pay packages. Yeah, we have, again, Tobo, we've got a lot of players now in the system, but the problem is we're not producing them into better level footballers. That's the problem. What does Thomas Dennehy done different from other coaches? Murali, he gave results, he gave trust, he improved the players, he worked on the players. A father-like figure, that's what you need. The new year with new with new question, not new actually, but decisive one. Will January tell the ISL sheet winner, and is it Mohnbagan's to lose? Orithro, yes, it is for them to lose, I think, but BFC is quite close by, so therefore it's still an open race. But yeah, let's see. Last year at this stage, and it's interesting, right, that whoever was top at the end of a calendar year, has never won the League Shield. So therefore, normally, if it goes by the rule books, again, football doesn't have to, Mohnbagan will not win it if we go by the rule books. Do you think abroad failure turns Sunil better if stayed India? It would be a different story. Yes. Both Sunil and Baichung. Failures make you stronger. Experience abroad makes you stronger. Gurpreet Singh Sandhu, talented young goalkeeper, but fumbled at the time. East Bengal lost the I-League title because of him. But he came back a much, much better player when he was with Stabæk for 3 years. For me, it's hard to understand how Bahrain, with a population of less than 2 million, is better than India at football. India's population is 700 times bigger. Tanvir, it doesn't size, it is size isn't the matter, Look at the success of Iceland, right? Iceland theoretically has had more success than China and India, right? And two countries at 1.4, 1.3 billion, and Iceland at 300,000 plus. Agree on our mind says we will finish last, but Mahat says we will top and qualify. XYZ, welcome to the club. Thoughts on Jan Law, reporter Faker Gupta, another coach in the system. Sanjay Stanley, your thoughts on him? Talented young player who at the moment is struggling to become a regular in the ISL. Santosh, best players for you who can shine in I-League or ISL. Shan, I did not watch the Santosh Trophy that diligently to be able to tell you who was the best player. Sorry to say that. How do you rate Norwegian and Swedish top tier? I can't rate the Swedish top tier, but Tanvir, I've worked in Norway, and the Norwegian league is good. I mean, the best Norwegian players are Erling Haaland and Odegaard, but they're producing players left, right, and center. It's a tough league. Any stage you felt Indian football in turmoil? Yeah, 2022 when the FIFA ban was coming, and I told those people in charge, we are in trouble, and when they didn't act. So yes, certainly I did say that. So these are the realities. Or now, whether if Japan plays against SAF teams, I will bet you that Japan will beat all SAF teams any day at current level of SAF level teams, and players confident also can thrash. Yes. So Kumar, remember that South Korea once drew against the Maldives. We drew goalless against Qatar. Normally on any day they would beat them. Will they beat them every time? Most probably not. So that, see, this is the problem, because this is a question of mentality when you're going to a match. When you think you're going to beat them 5-0, then you might give that 5% less, and suddenly that other team is having the day of their life, or the players. It can make a difference. The fact that Indians talk about population in football indicates we, as a self-belief, by luck, we can produce a team. Yeah, by sheer size, right? And that doesn't work. The work has to be done. We want Jugaad to do our work. Sandeep Singh, how would you rate, as you proved? A player playing in the ISL, nothing more, nothing less. Would AIFF still be interested in running Indian football? No. Turbo, they are interested in marketing Indian football and running the ISL. They've given up on the marketing because they've given up on the marketing, and they're trying to run the ISL. Victor Göker is real dead or hype? See, he's been at Sporting, Portugal. He's a failure at St. Pauli in Germany, so I don't know. He would have to go to a big league to prove himself. Your thoughts on United's current situation, if they lose two more matches, they're on the way to the of relegation. Siddharth, I think they've got enough points still, but it shows you how a badly run club with the so-called management of people who think they understand things, and it doesn't matter. They've had some of the biggest names in coaching to coach them, can be a failure. Sadly to say, Manchester United, it's a problem which has been coming. So let's see. When did South Korea draw Maldives? 1920s or what? No, I think 2010s, I would think, right? So, yeah, not too far ago. Elite say in Norwegian's top tier is ranked among top 15 in Europe UEFA coefficient. Then again, I do not go by these coefficients and these rankings and ratings. I've seen the football in Norway. I've seen the passion of the Norwegian fans. That to me is something where I say, you know what? Yes, you are up north, sometimes in the very, very, very cold weather, but there is the right level of passion. That's for me very, very important when you come to talk about football. 1 hour, 20 minutes, which means 80 minutes already on this live on the first day of the new year, 2025. Yes, we're in 2025. If you haven't, do leave a like behind if you like what you're seeing. 12 likes only so far. We've had quite a bit more likes in the last few days. Do that. Share it with other people if you think they should be watching what we're doing. And yeah, 2090 subscribers. Thank you very much, all of you, for that as well. All politicians are sitting or have a lot of influence at state affairs, and the state affairs vote for every president. How could we see better president or who appointed secretary and technical team? See, the point to me is it is not the AIFF president, in my opinion, who is the deciding factor, but I think the deciding factor is who is the general secretary and who are the people running the different divisions within the AIFF trying to make things happen, right? The secretary is appointed by the AIFF and technical team is appointed by the AIFF. But the secretary to me is the most important person in this structure. And those appointments after Kushal have not been good, period. That's our problem, right? And therefore, we are where we are. South Korea was that bad in 2010. Didn't they reach semifinals in 2002 World Cup beating Italy? Yes. But XYZ, it doesn't mean, again, on one day you might not perform. Qatar drawing India in 2019. I was there that day. If the Qataris took their chances, we would have lost 5-0. In the end, Udanta had even a counter-attacking chance. We could have even beaten Qatar in Doha that day, right? So football can be a funny game. Japan beating Spain and Germany in the World Cup. They never win those two games. Normally, Spain and Germany hammer Japan in those two games, right? Germany went out of the last World Cup with the most chances created. So therefore, the result counts sadly at the end of the day. How good you've played does not count in football. Any interest of foreign clubs in Indian players you can tell in 2024? No one get any interest except Chetri. There was no interest in any player. Why would someone be interested in 2004 in Sunil Chetri? He's 39. There was no interest in Sunil. Sorry, Siddharth. I don't want to destroy, those hopes, but there was no interest in Indian players. Good evening, Ishan. Welcome back and Happy New Year to you. Another, I'm not expecting top players from Grassroots and youth. I'm expecting better players than current crop. Yeah, but the current crop, most probably, we've seen the players, better players come out. So the problem is from grassroots and youth development, that structure needs to be there, right? And that structure does not exist. That's not been created. Just to say I build infrastructure. Listen, I would have shitty infrastructure. Would have quality coaches and quality competitions in place. That is more important, right? Earlier last month, I was in Spain. I visited an academy, and the football you saw, the quality of Spanish youngsters is insane. And that artificial turf was bad. We were talking, I think, last year at some stage, under 20 tournament in Nepal, and the turf, supposedly the turf was bad. Listen, that turf in Spain outside of Malaga was terrible, right? But these kids are technically so good. That is what counts. Our priorities are wrong, right? Those African kids we're talking about play on grounds which do not contain any grass, play with things which are not even a real football. Yeah. So these are realities. I've heard from many people the Norwegian league may not be that of that good quality, but it is one of the best development leagues in Europe. Is this correct? I would think it's a decent league. It's not the best league. You know, um, but yeah, you can develop. I mean, Gurpreet Singh Sandhu became what he is today because he played 3 years in Starbeck over there. Period. It's a good developmental league. Need speed football in Indian soil. Knowledge is everywhere. I would love to have that, but then their Indian reality is, um, but the realities of weather, of grounds, of fitness, of players, find it difficult at the moment. Etaz Hussain, former key Molde midfielder, played under Gunnar Solskjaer. Johnny Pakistan in March is still playing in Eliteserien for a different team. Also, Adil Nabi joining. Yeah, Tanvir. Pakistan have tried certain players. Pakistan will do certain things with players. And on the other side, we will see, we're talking about Hamza Chaudhry, Bangladesh. Look at Sri Lanka. Nepal, I think, might bring in 1 or 2 players down the road. Yeah, for India, it's going to get tougher. Happy New Year as well. Knowledge is everywhere to you and everybody who's watching. Once again, yeah, watch, subscribe, like, and also watch the short videos, guys, to grow the base. And thanks a lot as always for your support. Now, can you demand Germany fair through the German fan base to arrange another Spain was Germany friendly with top players? The Euro match was so amazing. XYZ, I know that was a great one, but it was also in the Euros, right? So that's, I think, one thing you should not forget. A friendly will never be of that effect. But players are playing in winter season and ground problem over there. Playing where? Knowledge is everywhere. Speed would actually outrun every national team player. I hope not. Siddharth says, Tanvir Singh respectfully saying 1-2 players playing in European League can win you games. They can be more skilled, but football is a team game. We can still beat Pakistan any day. And that's why I do disagree. And because they're not going to play 1 or 2 players, they're going to play 7, 8 players. And if their basics are better, we're going to lose to them at some stage. That is my concern. Our player level, I don't see that 18, 19, 20-year-old exceptional talent breaking through in the ISL and being a consistent performer. We see players 2-3 matches, people demanding that they should be called up. And then 3 weeks later, they don't know how to play football anymore. Sorry, I mean, I'm over-exaggerating, but that's the reality of where we stand at the moment. Now, the why FSTL put money on infrastructure, as you said, that, but why they did not invest in quality coaching and produce more grassroots coaches? Because that's not their job. They've created their own model internally. That's not their job to create grassroots coaches. That's the job of the clubs. And they've put some pressure initially on the clubs to do stuff, but the clubs have not followed up on the development path now. Right? It required a lot of time for Pakistan to get their squad adjusted and play at least somewhat expectant. Still, they haven't achieved it properly. Do you think can Bangladesh do it till our last game? Harry, I think Pakistan has a different problem. I think the whole system, again, they're still being run by a normalization committee. They don't even have a proper league. So that system is not there. Bangladesh has a proper running system, right? Even though, Bashundara Kings, who have been their best team, are no longer that, but that's the reality. But again, they have a certain thing, and look at Jamal Bhuyan, who's been, running their team for the last 3 years. I remember that 1-1 draw in Kolkata. They have already been a problem for us. Losing to Sri Lanka would be mind-numbing. Yeah, but XYZ, it's a possibility. You're looking at Sri Lanka at the moment. I mean, to say that players are playing ISL or League tournament in the winter season, why can't Indian players generating speed? Because knowledge is everywhere. Winter season in India, elsewhere in the world would be summer. Do you think that in Kochi it's winter? Do you think in Mumbai it's winter? Do you think in Chennai it's winter? In Hyderabad, in Bangalore? Even the temperatures in Kolkata or Bhubaneswar, that in other parts of the world, that would be spring, autumn, or maybe even summer. So, no, you see, look at how much the players are sweating over there. Can ISL have fifth foreigner role and fifth foreigner be OCI card holder? Mukul, I don't want the OCIs to come back to India. I want them to play in their respective countries because I feel if they're playing in Europe or North America, they're playing at a higher level, at a higher standard. Sunil once said, very interesting, I'll continue talking, I just have to do something. Sunil once said that, if Man City came to India and played with their team, he said in 5 years there would be of a worse standard that they play in the Premier League. The same he said about Messi as well, that Messi in 2-3 years would not be the Messi he is. And that's the problem. Our standard is lower. So if you're playing at a lower standard, at a lower quality, you are going to adjust to that lower standard. And that's the challenge that we have in Indian football, is how can we rather increase our standard? How can we get better? That is the challenge for Indian football, and that is at the moment not happening. And that is where we are at the moment struggling with Indian football. And I don't think that that our players are getting that OCI players should be coming to India to play here, to showcase themselves, because we're not even given them passports. It's not a matter, If we still can put money to produce good quality coaches where they can generate systems which will produce better coaches and better players. Some players are probably saying they will not put single penny. Kumar, it is not their role. It is the role of the clubs, and to some extent the AIFF to support that, and the state affairs. They haven't done it, they will not do it. Bangalore and Hyderabad temperatures winter can reach 10 degrees. Kumar, I would love 10 degrees at the moment, right? I would be wearing a half shirt outside at 10 degrees. Do you think about water breaks in these months, even at 570 in Delhi, even other parts of India may not be too hot to, even if they don't have winter effect? How does it play a role in injuries? There are two sides to this, right? In one side, television and marketing will tell you, you know what, we're using this as an informal TV break, which is, I think that's the real reason why it's happening. But yeah, in Delhi, you don't need it. But I saw the other day in Kolkata, if you see how the players were sweating, or in Odisha, or even day before yesterday in Mumbai, then the water breaks make sense. Because for someone, I can say that for me, if I'm in Europe and have to play football in Indian conditions, I'll be sweating too much. But is it a reason for the injuries? I don't think so. I think that's something that people want to construct, because they're saying, oh, you know what, we are only able to assert ourselves for 30 minutes, and then we have a break, and then 15 minutes. Listen, if you have the injury problems crop up for different reasons. Why, right? Even in Europe, you've got much higher level of injuries these days than you would have said 10, 15 years ago. Because football has become much more faster, much more physical than it was most probably 10, 15 years ago. In the past, you used to do more interviews, attend seminars and talks regarding football. I think you should be doing more of that. Yeah, I do attend seminars. Less, but it is, it is sometimes it doesn't work from schedule. But I'll keep on talking about football. And again, there are certain reasons I'm working on certain things, which I luckily can sometimes work from home rather than traveling the world. So yeah, sometimes it is this way, sometimes that way. Hi, is RFDL and ISL system is different? Yeah, of course. Come on. ISL is a league system and RFDL is a regional, a local, regional, and then a national level system at that level. Should football stadiums have rooftop to avoid rain? Does rain add anything to football quality or the game itself? Um, you know, I don't know. It depends on where you're playing and how strong the rains are. Are they light rains? Are they strong rains? Is it moderate? Uh, you know, to me, I would say in cold weather, I would say it works. It makes sense. But in a country like India, let's say monsoons here would make sense as well. But the costs are quite high. Sunil and even Sandesh Gurpreet in podcast, they're sugarcoating themselves that can play in top 5 leagues and also saying Indian players can play second tier. It's Kumar. It is the way that they them to say what they say. Again, a lot of people say a lot of things publicly, and then there's a lot of things that they say in private. So yeah, that's the way it is. I think you should do a TED talk regarding football in India. Yeah, I'm ready for it. I don't know how TED Talks work, so I don't know how it works, but I've never done one. So yeah, thanks. Can you show us more about the football around you, how systems run, how players get developed, etc.? It could be eye opener for many people and great opportunity for us to learn. Harry, you know what? Yeah, it's a nice idea, nice approach, but there are sites here in Germany. Might sound a little weird to some of you, but that is what it's have. So again, and academies also don't like to really showcase what they're actually factually doing. So it's not that easy that I, let's say, walk into Bayern Munich and say, hey, you know what, showcase what you guys are doing, and yeah, come here, show you. Not happening. I can watch it. I've been to some of the biggest academies. I've been lucky. I've been to Bayern, been to Dortmund, Leverkusen here in Germany, been to La Masia, the old La Masia, in Arsenal, I've been to Man City. So yeah, I've been at a look, but they would not be willing for me to actually shoot stuff and show it. No, they are also in competition with each other, no? So they don't really want to showcase and highlight those things. Right, 1 hour and 38 minutes already. Clock here in Germany, nearly 11:30 in India. If you haven't, do leave a like behind. And as I always say, share it. 14 likes so far. We are at 2,091 subscribers. Thanks a lot, guys, for that. As I say, also watch the short videos that I make about and again, as I said, my expectations of 2025 and Indian football is the first video of the year, and yesterday it's something what Indian origin players leave their citizenships and other videos as well. Watch it, and yeah, thanks as always for your support. Now, I do not have any hope AIFF improving coaching standards. Clubs and top tier leagues should proactively invest in quality decades of efforts. Who's putting in decades of efforts, Kumar? They are years of efforts, not decades, right? What is the effort? It is coaches um, coaches to improve themselves, to work on themselves. I know in India, coaches think, you know what, someone else should be paying for their education. It's a weird way of thinking. But to me, it's very, very clear. The league is not going to invest in it. Some clubs know that some clubs have done it, and the coaches then left them because they wanted more money and got it elsewhere. So that system is not working. You're on the wrong path on that. And selling players, if you build your system on selling players as a certain academy has done, if you're not producing better quality players, we're not producing better quality players. Well, in end an hour, just as great, Rabindranath Thakur said, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে. Right now, Indian football has no light, only few screaming, we need to stand and march. Yeah, it's doing the right way. No? There's certain things that you do publicly, and there's a lot of things that one can do behind the scenes. That's my approach. This is a way of interacting with people in a public forum. As I say, we need more people joining us in these conversations. I think that's the biggest challenge that I see. That more people. I would love to have more people joining us in these conversations. But you realize, right, that if we are talking about these things about development of players and other things, people don't want to watch them. There's no value in it. Maybe you guys will watch it, but again, no one is interested in that, and that's a recommend. I can go through about the things that I speak about development and what needs to happen. Yeah, or why logical things and other things. No, people want to listen about, I don't know, OCI's Hamza Chaudhary and transfers and whatever. That's the reality. At least of players from young age to senior professional. Kumar, there are videos. I've made a series on future of Indian football, what needs to be done. There is a separate playlist on that. Even yeah. So yeah, watch those. It's already available. I don't need to. Let me just wait 1 second. Where is it? Here is it. Here is it. Yeah. That's the playlist. If you want to see, there is a whole playlist on that. There's a whole playlist on what can be done. On what is on the HRA thing, what Mizoram did, all the topics that I thought are important on development. Yeah, it's there. I don't need to reproduce it. It's already there out there. You can solve this puzzle. How will you solve the problem in India where coaches come from low strata of society where they cannot put that money to take exam? Kumar, that is not the Indian problem. That's a problem around the world. And people work to earn that money to do it. You know what? Most people around the world who are working in football don't earn money from football. Even the lowest level of coach in India is earning money from football, right? Players who should be amateurs, who should not be earning money from football, are earning money from football. It's brutal. We are not going to get there. And some of these people, if you need to make it work for yourself, you can't. Listen, we have made it so cheap, right? You will still say it's costly. Made it so cheap to do a D or a C license, right? Reality is, are these people actually the right people to take us forward in Indian football? I have my doubts, right? Without good local coaches, we need foreign coaches. That makes youth development very expensive. That's the other problem. Again, look at the coaching level we have, right? Our referees in Europe paid enough, maybe 30, 40 K for second, third tier. No, they don't earn that much. They by far don't earn that much. Harry, So these are also realities, right? Where we say, oh, they get this, they get that. No, they don't. Yeah, Kumar, Indian society does not consider part-time jobs in India. Then that's the problem of the society, right? And forget freelancing, you're doing free work. Most coaches at youth level do it for free. Even the big clubs sometimes have coaches in under 9, under 11 who are young guys who are going to university who are doing it, right? I know a very good friend of mine who now works in the academy of a Bundesliga club. He started working for them at 19. Didn't even get a penny, just got a little bit of money for conveyance. So this is the reality, right? Indian society needs to change and understand what does it want to pay for, what does it need. Otherwise, we will not get anywhere. And sorry, a lot of coaches who get money, do they deserve it? That sounds brutal, but that's, these are um, some of the harsh realities that we need to discuss and look at. Otherwise, we're not going to get anywhere. Indian football, if it wants to grow in the right direction, needs to take football, Indian sports, you know, and let's see, where we go, because um, the society is not geared up to support and promote sports. That's football. And now they're trying to come in TED Talks. I said, Kumar, I don't know how to get into TED Talks. I've seen some, but I don't know. Shamtap is the George Michael of Indian football. He's to Indian football. George Michael is to music industry. Why, Orijit? But I'll take that as your opinion. We as we go into 2025, you know, um, realities, right? That we need to do certain things, otherwise things will not improve. And we are in a very tricky, very contentious crossroads of evolvement and development, and that's going to be the challenge. From any country, Kumar, that is fine, but football or sports is built in a certain way around the world, right? And if you don't follow it, you won't be successful. And that's a thing where India is faltering at the moment, in my opinion. We're not successful because Indian sports has not gone to the level, and coaching is one of those aspects, in my opinion, which are very, very crucial, very, very critical on that front, right? And that is not happening, in my opinion. And if that doesn't happen, we're not going to walk into the right direction and make those changes that are needed. And football is going to be, yeah, maybe that's something which is there, and therefore, sorry, right? So these are, yeah, these are the realities that every ISL football academy, Reliance Football, should hire foreign coach and foreign trainer. Some of them already have, huh? Will they all do it? No, they won't. Right? These are the things, these are realities. Should SAF be scrapped and teams like Pakistan, India, Bangladesh should join CAFA or other ASEAN, etc.? Or should SAF help the teams? What's your opinion? Even the raising this question makes no sense, right? It's like people saying, oh, you know what, we should change to CAFA to. It's not going to happen. Right? There have been divisions in Asia made into regional blocks. India is heart of SAF, if we like it or not. You know, you know. So that is the reality. There is no option of CAFA or ASEAN integrating teams from some SAF. SAF is there, if you like it or not. And I know a lot of people don't like it, but that's where we are. If we are playing CAFA or ASEAN or Gulf, we'll get exposed even more. You talked about Olympic and how we need to improve to even host it. I don't think our diaspora can do it quick. We at least got to be top 10, 15 to punch even higher to host it, where we can't. Yeah, but the diaspora can help you to at least get to a respectable level. At the moment, we're at a level, where India is celebrating itself, but it's nowhere near. That's the problem. Kerala Blasters has foreign coach for their. I thought they have a foreign coach for the reserve team, and Thomas Schorsch, and he's currently actually the unofficial head coach of the first team, right? Do you think SAF will vanish in a few decades, or will it stay forever like the same sluggish genre? There's no intent to develop football in the region. Except there is a realignment of football in Asia overall, which I don't see the AFC doing. Why should there be any change? Right? It is like it is. SAF is like it is. The country FAs are they are, and to be that the region is the weakest, right? PAO integration is not going to happen in India. Only way forward is grassroots development, but enough is being done for 2047. Arijit, you're on the wrong path. Grassroots development. We're in 2025. Do you seriously think and believe if we do the right thing today, that in 2047 we would be much better team? To do the right thing today, not tomorrow, not day after, today. 2047 looks far away. It's 22 years. Not happening. The only way for fast track development of Indian football is to get players of origin, men's and women's. That's the only way. If we wait for grassroots development to take root in India, we're waiting for 100 years. Not happening anytime soon. Sorry to break that myth. It could have been done, but it hasn't been done. The whole system, even the system of development, is overpaid because you're paying, coaches who are not worth it full-time salaries. Yeah, that's the brutal reality. Does okay. Have had I think Myanmar was never part of SAF, so I don't see them playing as a SAF nation. They themselves see them as an ASEAN nation. Afghanistan switched because CAFA didn't have enough nations according to the AFC, so they put in there. Afghanistan is like anyway, but we don't see them as Gulf as well. Iran wouldn't like them. Sort of Iran themselves are not part of the Gulf, so all of that has been pushed into CAF. CAFA is an unnatural sort of production in there just to have a carve out something, but that's the reality. SAF thinks why I will be the worst organization in the AFC. How do you know that the worst organization in the AFC? Because of the quality of football? Right? Kumar, you make assumptions without knowing. Don't do that. Don't make assumptions. How do you know that SAF is good? ASEAN is better, Gulf is better, or CAFA is better? How do you know? Do you know that? Again, that's what I'm saying, guys. Don't make those assumptions. It is also dependent on their respective work. Right? That is something which is there. It is not, I know SAF wanted to have a SAF club championship for the last, I think, 16, 17 years. First time they discussed it, right? And every time someone or the other said, no, not interested. And especially India was not interested. right? And therefore, now most probably it's too late with the system that you have in Asia. So they're right. But with Bangladesh, Sri Lanka doing well in Asia, I think Asia will take SAF a bit seriously, as I don't think even if Asia qualify for Asia Cup, they won't stage the teams of stage on fire like Indonesia. Where did I miss something? Right? They're not even close to the Asian Cup at the moment. They're not there. Let them get there, then you can have that discussion. Indonesia has always been at a different level than these countries now. Even though they've been in the ranking, they were in the original bottom qualifiers for this round of World Cup and AFC Asian Cup qualifiers. So they are not there where people are thinking they are. They need to get there. They have a better possibility now with diaspora players. I'm saying football output ultimately matters. Kumar, you know, you don't know what SAF does or FAF, an AIFF or a BFF or a PFF or whatever has blocked. So how can you make that judgment? That is my point. You're being judgmental on things which you don't know about. Sorry, I'm being very honest to you. You again, not only you, by reading up stuff, by me watching stuff, you understand how these things are intertwined. No, you don't. If you've not worked in these, and this is not only just you, I would tell this to other people who speak about these things. If you don't know how these things are intertwined, how something works or something, it's very difficult to have an opinion on it, right? That SAF is the weakest region in Asia, yes. But does it mean that SAF as a body is doing bad work? Do you know that? As I said, SAF Club Championship is something which for many years the AIFF did not want to commit to a time window. SAF Championships have not happened because India said, oh, you know what? Our I-League or our ISL is more important. We cannot commit to those windows when you want to play them. That's the reality. So what's SAF going to do? Say, oh, you know what? We're going to without Indian clubs. Who's going to be bothered? That's the weird one, right? So these are realities that one has to understand on how these bodies work. If we see other than quality, SAF run most poorly in Asia for many years compared to other federations. I know people who will abuse in Southeast Asia, abuse ASEAN. I know people who live in Central Asia who abuse CAFA. And you people will say, oh, you know, these guys are doing an excellent job. Perspective, right? I've said in the past, I would have said the AIFF was being run better than the German FA. But the German FA has a certain size and strength. That's why that comparison doesn't work, right? Brazilian football, Argentinian football actually are worse, or their leagues are sometimes worse run than the ISL or the AIFF, right? You would not believe it, but they're multiple world champions. The structure is sometimes not, no. We have better things to do than worry about SAF. Exactly. We have to worry about ourselves. When SAF is, we can think about SAF when we've sorted out our own house. And right? India needs to be the leader in SAF. If India was a beacon in Asia, and you'd say, you know what, India is at least, let's say, top 10. Then we can talk, right? India needs to be the leader in SAF. And if India does better, the others will also do better. But now what is happening, at least let's say women's game, is the others are far they can go on a continental level. That's going to be the real test. Yeah. This year, AFC Women's Asian Cup qualifiers, let's see how far Nepal and Bangladesh can go. in the men's game also. Let's see. Sri Lanka already has many players of origin. Bangladesh, let's see how they settle down. And then also think about as well. And then let's see where we are. What is the one thing in info which should be improved that itself going to improve many things, like interrelated? The right leadership at the AIFF? Very simple. That is, if we sort that out, if you have the right leadership in the AIFF with the right president, the right secretary, they will take charge of things. And they will have to get the stakeholders on board to do their role, to take up their jobs. Work together with your commercial partners. Try to attract more money into the system. Try to attract more government support. That's the role. That's the only way forward. India needs to be the leader in South Asia for South Asia to grow. But at the moment, it looks like to realize, oh my God, we're so bad, so that we become better. That should never be the case. But that's the reality now, which is going to most likely hit us this year, right? That's my concern. The football quality and results matter. Kumar, again, you have still not understood. You are just going back, harping on results and this and that. You statistical stuff. You don't know how the federation is run. Do you know how SAF is being run? You know, talking like you understand how these things work. No, you don't. Learn, try and understand how these things run. If you run, understand. From the outside, football looks very easy. A lot of you guys think you understand how football runs. No, you don't. Sorry. It is the reality. You're judging systems. Very difficult. Very, very difficult. That is one thing also, right? Learn, understand things. That's my last thing to say today. Because, football is the most beautiful thing to watch. It can be also a very hard thing to watch when your teams lose. But to understand how it runs and operates, forget it in Indian football context. Look at the same things to my friends here in Germany. Because being a fan is easy. Working in the system can be very, very hard, can be very, very tough. Because you can do the best of your work. But again, we come back to results. Yeah. That good work is not going to be appreciated. Because I know enough people who do good work in the AIFF. You don't even know their names. You will never know their names. But those guys do bad work. And I could continue here, there, everywhere. That is part of the problem. But again, let's move forward in 2025. Once more, Happy New Year, everybody. If you like the, leave a like, share it. As I said, watch the other videos as well. And yeah, subscribe as well. And Kumar, and this answer just sums up that you haven't understood how, sorry, I'm being very honest to you. You haven't understood how football runs. Proceed. Forget India, we'll do nobody would bother. If a club from Bangladesh is playing against Maldives or a club against Sri Lanka, right? The general marketing guys who are, they would tell you, don't hold the tournament. Because we are still the biggies in this. Forget how good or how bad we are. Now, you're talking now, 15, 16, 17 years ago when the topic, right? We're talking about I-League teams. We're not even talking about ISL teams. We were still the biggest. So a SAF championship, club championship without Indian football clubs will never happen. So therefore, no, it's not. Again, I understand you're not against it, but you've not understood how the system works, Kumar. If you want to understand, there are certain things in theory, it looks very, very easy. In the practical, real world, it looks very, sorry to say that. That's the reality. Tanveer, next stream planned tomorrow night, 9:45, post the Mohun Bagan game, first game of the season. So that's the plan. Once again, yeah, longer one. As I said, like, share, and subscribe. Happy New Year once again. And I'll see you tomorrow. Watch the shorter videos on arunfoot. Keep supporting. Thanks and good night.